Before the universe opened its eyes, before the stars learned to shine, there was only silence. A silence so deep, so eternal, that even the idea of time did not exist. No heavens, no earth, no gods. Only an endless ocean of potential, waiting to be awakened. Then a vibration, a pulse, a sound that echoed into the void. Om, the first cosmic breath. From the stillness emerged creation itself. Gods of unimaginable power rose from the infinite. Brahma, the creator. Vishnu, the preserver. Shiva, the destroyer. With every breath of these divine beings, galaxies spun into existence. Worlds were shaped and destinies were written. But where there is creation, chaos always follows. Demons rose. Battles raged. Reality balanced on the edge of destruction. And every time darkness threatened existence, a new avatar stepped forward to restore harmony. Tonight, as you drift into sleep, you will travel through these sacred stories. From the beginning of cosmos, through great epics of Rama and Krishna, to the prophecy of Kalki, the final warrior yet to come. Close your eyes. The journey beyond time begins now. Before anything existed, before dreams were born, before even the idea of time took its first breath, there was only stillness. Not darkness, for darkness itself had not been created. Not emptiness, because emptiness requires a space to exist in. There was only a silent presence, endless and eternal, floating without direction or purpose. No sky, no earth, no stars, no life. Everything that would ever be was asleep in the womb of the infinite. In that vast and silent nothingness, an unseen vibration began to stir. A gentle hum, soft but powerful, like a heartbeat echoing through the void. It grew slowly, resonating with the promise of existence. And then, from that silence, a sound emerged, pure, eternal, divine. The first sound, the sound of creation. Om. The cosmic syllable that awakened reality itself. As Om vibrated through the void, energy began to shift. The sleeping potential started to awaken. A single spark of consciousness bloomed into brilliance, lighting the abyss with a glow that stretched farther than sight could reach. That spark formed into a cosmic egg, the Brahmanda, the egg of creation. Within it, the universe lay curled, waiting to open its eyes. From the cosmic egg arose the first divine being, Narayana, the endless. He floated effortlessly on the infinite ocean of existence, resting upon the coils of the great serpent Anantashesha. Each breath Narayana took caused galaxies to swirl into shape. With every slow exhale, worlds formed and dissolved. He was both the silence and the promise of sound, the stillness and the beginning of motion. From Narayana's navel, a radiant lotus emerged, rising like a sun through the cosmic waters. Its petals glowed with the light of infinite possibilities. And upon that lotus, sitting in deep meditation, appeared Brahma, the creator. With 4 faces looking in 4 directions, he saw everything that existed, everything that would exist, and everything waiting to be created. Brahma opened his eyes, and at that moment, time began. His first thought separated the past from the future. His second thought shaped the present. With each breath he designed the universe, the sky above, the earth below, the oceans that danced between them. Mountains rose, rivers carved their paths, and the air began to move with purpose. But creation required balance. For what has a beginning must one day end. And what ends must eventually begin again. Thus, from the power of eternal truth emerged Shiva, the destroyer, the lord of the cosmic dance. With a third eye blazing upon his forehead, Shiva represented transformation. His dance would someday bring the universe back into stillness, only so it could be born again. The 3 divine forces, Brahma the creator, Vishnu the preserver, Shiva the destroyer, formed the cosmic trinity. Each was essential. Each held the power to guide the universe through its never-ending cycles. And with them, existence gained structure, balance, and destiny. As the gods shaped the world, the elements took form. Fire burned with passion, water flowed with emotion, earth held the strength of stability, air carried the breath of life, and space offered room for all to exist. Stars ignited as giant flames against the dark canvas of the sky. Planets spun into place, each carrying its own secrets and stories. Comets streaked across the heavens like divine messengers bearing light. Life now waited for its turn. From Brahma's mind, thoughts became beings. Some were radiant and pure, Devas, the gods of light. Others arose from his shadows, Asuras, fierce and ambitious. Though different in nature, both were born from the same cosmic source. And so began the eternal balance of right and wrong, harmony and conflict, protection and challenge. The universe pulsed with life. On distant worlds, creatures stirred into existence. On earth, the air shimmered with possibility. From the soil emerged the first mountains. From the mountains flowed rivers. And from those waters, the earliest living forms awakened. Plants stretched toward the skies that Brahma had painted. Animals roamed lands that Vishnu sustained. Every cell carried the divine spark that linked it to the gods. But as creation flourished, so did desire. Asuras sought power, dreaming of ruling the very universe from which they were born. Devas rose to protect the balance, ensuring light did not fade beneath ambition. Their battles echoed through the heavens, shaping destinies across ages. In the divine realms, Vishnu observed the balance. Whenever darkness threatened to overshadow existence, he promised to descend among the living in new forms, avatars, each crafted to restore harmony. This sacred promise would one day become legend. Yet even in these earliest moments, the cycle of time continued to expand. Ages passed like ripples in a cosmic ocean. Brahma's days, long beyond mortal understanding, counted in billions of earthly years. Shiva meditated upon the mountain of stillness, watching all transformation unfold. Vishnu rested within the endless ocean, waiting for the next call to preserve creation. And through it all, the sound of Om resonated, a heartbeat that never ceased. The universe learned to move. Stars danced through the void in graceful spirals. Seasons arose. Nights followed days. Life adapted, evolved, and expanded. Every leaf, every drop of water, every gust of wind carried the memory of the cosmic beginning. But creation was not perfect. Where there was life, there was also fear. Where there was light, shadows crept behind. Where there was wisdom, ignorance often followed. This tension would fuel myths, stories, wars, and the rise of great heroes. The gods did not turn away. They watched lovingly and protectively, shaping destinies with unseen hands. In the divine realm of Vaikuntha, Vishnu smiled softly, knowing that every challenge gave birth to strength. In Kailash, Shiva remained ready to dissolve illusions with a single glance. In Satyaloka, Brahma planned futures that would span countless worlds. As ages flowed into one another, humanity emerged, curious, vulnerable, destined for greatness. Humans looked up at the stars, sensing a truth older than themselves. Something deep within their souls recognized the divine spark they carried. They prayed for guidance, wisdom, and protection, and the gods heard them. That connection between the mortal and divine became the foundation of Hindu mythology, an endless conversation between creation and the creator, between existence and its purpose. But the universe was still young. The stories of gods and demons, of heroes and villains, of love and sacrifice, had only just begun. The struggle for balance would become the center of every age that followed. The cosmic order was set in motion. Every victory and every loss, every birth and every death, every moment of peace and every shadow of war was tied to a greater pattern. A pattern woven by divine hands, sustained by cosmic energy, and destined to continue until the universe itself takes its final breath. Yet even that final breath would not be the end. For in Hindu mythology, destruction is never a conclusion. It is simply a doorway to creation reborn. Time has no true beginning and no true end. It is an endless wheel turning through the cycles of existence. Creation, preservation, destruction, and rebirth. Yugas would come and go. Civilizations would rise and fall. Knowledge would grow only to be forgotten and rediscovered again. And we, the viewers of these ancient tales, are part of this eternal journey. Tonight, as you rest, imagine the first spark of existence floating in the endless cosmic ocean. Feel the vibration of Om, still resonating through every atom of your being. Let the presence of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva surround you, reminding you that creation is not only a myth but a living force within all life. As you drift deeper into sleep, the next chapter awaits. Gods will walk among mortals. Demons will challenge the heavens. And the universe will reveal stories as old as time itself. For now, return to that first moment. The silent, infinite ocean before creation. The calm breath of Narayana. The lotus rising. The light awakening. The promise of everything yet to come. Close your eyes. The universe continues to create, even in your dreams. After creation settled into motion and time learned how to walk forward, the divine realm awakened with purpose. The gods who had been born from the thoughts of Brahma did not simply exist. They thrived. They rose in brilliance, each representing a force that shaped the universe. Indra became lord of the skies and thunder. Agni became keeper of fire and sacrifice. Varuna ruled over the oceans. Vayu breathed wind into the world. Surya carried the sun across the heavens each day. They were Devas, beings of light who protected cosmic order. Their radiance filled the heavens, and their power guided the balance of existence. But where there is light there must also be shadow. As Brahma's joy shaped the Devas, his unspoken fears gave birth to the Asuras, powerful beings filled with ambition, strength, and desire. They were not evil by nature, for they came from the same divine source. Yet their hunger for dominance often pushed them toward conflict. They looked at the heavens and believed they too deserved to rule. And so, the cosmic stage was set for an eternal rivalry. Devas guarding balance, Asuras challenging it. The world was young and realms were forming. The heavens, Swarga, became the dazzling home of the gods. The earth, Buloka, welcomed growing life, nurturing plants, rivers, and living beings. The underworld, Patala, became a mysterious and powerful domain where Asuras built their fortresses, rich with treasures and secrets. These three realms formed the first architecture of the universe, each influencing the others. In these early cosmic ages, boons, divine blessings of immense power, became central to fate. To gain these boons, both Devas and Asuras sought penance, meditation, and devotion. They turned to Brahma and Shiva, for these gods were known to reward intense prayer with incomparable gifts. The Devas prayed for protection. The Asuras prayed for conquest. And both were granted what they wished for, because the gods did not choose sides. Balance must always remain neutral. One of the earliest beings to shake the harmony was Tarakasura, a mighty Asura whose strength and ambition knew no limits. Through fierce penance he earned a boon from Brahma. Only the son of Shiva could defeat him. Tarka knew well that Shiva lived in quiet isolation, lost in meditation after the loss of his beloved Sati. Shiva had no intention of fatherhood again. This meant Tarka was nearly invincible. With his power, he conquered the heavens, dethroned the Devas, and ruled over their celestial kingdom with force and fear. The universe trembled under Tarka's reign, and the Devas sought Vishnu for help. Vishnu explained that balance could only be restored through a future child, the child of Shiva. But Shiva's grief was deep, and his heart remained closed to the world. It was then that the cosmos set into motion another divine path. The goddess Parvati, Sati reborn, entered Shiva's life. Through patience and devotion, she awakened Shiva's heart once again. From their union came Kartikeya, born to defeat the invincible Tarka. And so it happened. Kartikeya emerged as a divine warrior, leading the Devas into a victorious battle and restoring harmony. However, peace never lasted long in the cosmic story. Just as the Devas celebrated, another Asura rose, Hiranyaksha, a monster of destructive strength who dragged Earth itself into the depths of the cosmic ocean. The universe cried for help as the planet sank into darkness. Vishnu took the form of Varaha, a gigantic boar avatar with the power of the cosmos glowing in his eyes. With fury and determination, Varaha dove into the dark waters, challenged Hiranyaksha, and restored Earth to its rightful place. Creation continued, but the balance remained fragile. Hiranyaksha's brother, Hiranyakashipu, soon became the next force of chaos. He despised the gods and believed power alone shaped the universe. To achieve immortality, he performed harsh austerities for ages until Brahma himself appeared. Hiranyakashipu asked for a boon that seemed impossible to counter, that he could not be killed by man or beast, inside or outside, during the day or night, on earth or in the sky, or by any weapon forged by mortals or gods. Brahma granted the wish, for the gods honor devotion, even when devotion nurtures destruction. With this twisted immortality, Hiranyakashipu ruled as a tyrant. He forced the world to worship him as the supreme lord. Yet in his own palace, a spark of unwavering faith shined through his son, Prahlada, a child devoted to Vishnu. Hiranyakashipu tried every cruel method to break his son's devotion, but faith rooted in truth cannot be shaken. Enraged, the demon king demanded to know where Prahlada believed Vishnu existed. The child replied, "In every corner of creation. Even in this pillar." Out of this very statement, Vishnu burst forth in his fierce Narasimha avatar, neither man nor beast, at twilight neither day nor night, on a threshold neither indoors nor outdoors, lifting Hiranyakashipu onto his lap, neither earth nor sky, and tearing him apart with divine claws, not weapons. The universe realized that no boon can escape the balance of cosmic order. But the cycle of defiance did not end there. Another legendary Asura, Mahabali, noble, just, and beloved even by the Devas, rose in power and ruled the three worlds with generosity and fairness. Yet power, even when rooted in goodness, can tip the balance. The Devas feared their place was lost forever and sought Vishnu once more. Vishnu answered their call by taking the humble form of Vamana, a dwarf Brahmin. He approached Mahabali, asking only for 3 steps of land. Smiling at such a tiny request, Mahabali agreed. Then Vamana grew to an unimaginable cosmic size. With 1 step he covered the heavens. With the second he covered earth. There was no place left for the third. Realizing the divine play, Mahabali bowed his head. Vishnu placed his final step upon the king's humility, sending him to the underworld as its noble and eternal ruler, proving that even good must stay within the balance of dharma. Time flowed as it always does. The ages mutated into new challenges. The devas sought protection and guidance more frequently. Vishnu promised that whenever balance was threatened, he would return, again and again, each time in a new form fit for the moment. Yet the biggest conflict of early creation was not between gods and demons, but between pride and humility, between desire and responsibility, between creation and destruction struggling to coexist. Even devas sometimes faltered. Their fear led them to jealousy. Their victories often gave rise to arrogance. And each time the balance tilted too far in either direction, destiny shaped a new story. The cosmic truth of this age revealed itself. Power itself is neutral. It becomes good or evil only in the hands of the one who wields it. While the great battles raged across realms, a deeper divine story unfolded. Shiva, whose purpose was destruction and transformation, showed that what is destroyed often becomes stronger when reborn. Vishnu, guardian of harmony, demonstrated that compassion is the greatest strength. Rama reminded the cosmos that creation must continue, despite all chaos, doubt, and fear. Life on earth grew braver. Humans looked toward the heavens, telling stories of gods and demons, not to fear them but to learn from them. Every battle they described was a lesson. Every avatar became a symbol. Every moment of divine anger or mercy became a reminder. Existence requires balance. No force can rule alone. As more life began to thrive, evil did not vanish. It simply learned new shapes. Sometimes monsters came from the outside. Sometimes darkness grew within the heart. Even the greatest kings could fall if guided by ego. Even the humblest soul could rise if guided by truth. The age of the gods taught the first and most important law of the universe. Power without purpose leads to destruction. Purpose without power leads to helplessness. True harmony requires both, guided by wisdom. And so, the story of balance continued, flowing forward into new destinies. Vishnu prepared for future avatars, heroes who would walk among mortals, teaching dharma not through words but through sacrifice. Shiva continued to meditate, holding inside him the fire that one day might end the universe, only to allow it to be born again. Brahma watched over creation, ensuring no story remained unfinished. The stars shimmered as witnesses to this eternal dance. The wind whispered stories of gods who protected and demons who challenged. Mountains stood tall like guardians of ancient memory. Oceans carried the reflections of cosmic battles beneath their waves. Every part of the universe understood its place in this balance. Every victory carried a warning. Every defeat carried a lesson. Now, as you rest under the vast sky of the present age, remember this: the universe is not random. It is guided by stories, timeless, powerful, and alive. The tales of gods and demons are not just ancient myths. They are reflections of the endless struggle within every soul, the battle between desire and duty, chaos and order, ego and wisdom. The age of the gods ensured that the universe would not collapse under the weight of power. It gave structure to destiny. It established the law that for every rise, there must be humility. For every victory, there must be responsibility. For every wish granted, there must be a consequence. And so the cosmic wheel turned, preparing for the arrival of avatars who would descend to earth, not as distant gods, but as living beings who feel joy, pain, love, and loss. Their stories would shape entire civilizations. 2 of them would become the greatest epics ever told, the story of Rama and the story of Krishna. But before those epics unfold, the universe pauses in quiet reflection. The gods sleep lightly. The demons plan their return. The balance holds, trembling, delicate, eternal. You are now ready to continue deeper into this cosmic journey, as the next chapter begins to awaken within your dreams. From the earliest moment existence tried to find order, Vishnu has returned again and again to protect the balance of the world. Each age brought new threats, cosmic floods, demonic forces, abuse of power, and moral collapse. And each time a new form emerged to restore harmony. These are the 10 incarnations that shaped the course of humanity, step by step guiding the world from oceans to kingdoms, from primitive chaos to civilizations striving for righteousness. The first incarnation came when the world was still young, when waters ruled the land and life itself barely understood survival. A great flood threatened to erase everything that had been learned and everything that could be. A humble and wise man named Manu encountered a small fish seeking safety. The fish asked for protection and Manu, moved by compassion, placed it into a vessel. But the fish kept growing, from a pot to a pond, from a lake to the vast river, until finally, it revealed a towering form. Vishnu, as Matsya, warned Manu that the flood would cleanse the earth, and only preparation would save knowledge and life. Manu built a massive ark and filled it with seeds, animals, and sacred wisdom. When the waters rose and swallowed mountains and lands, Matsya guided the vessel with strength and clarity, ensuring that creation would begin again. This incarnation taught humanity the importance of preserving wisdom, for without memory, progress disappears into darkness. As the world recovered and life spread, gods and demons once again collided. Immortality became their shared ambition, but neither side could achieve it alone. They sought to churn the cosmic ocean, hoping to retrieve the nectar of eternal life. The mountain chosen for the task began sinking under its own weight. At that moment, Vishnu transformed into Kurm, a colossal tortoise whose shell supported the entire mountain. Resting beneath the turbulent waves, Kurm carried that burden without hesitation. Treasures emerged, divine beings, powerful weapons, and finally the nectar itself. Without Kurm's steady foundation, greed and chaos would have drowned both gods and demons. This incarnation illustrated that even the most powerful efforts collapse without balance and stability beneath them. But order never stays secure for long. Soon, a demon rose from the ocean depths, claiming that the world belonged to him alone. Hiranyaksha dragged the earth into the cosmic sea, forcing all life toward suffocating extinction. Vishnu responded by becoming Varaha, the mighty boar. With a roar that shook creation, Varaha plunged into the abyss and battled the demon with unstoppable force. He lifted the earth upon his tusks, raising it back to its rightful place beneath the sun. This form symbolized strength used not to conquer, but to protect the foundation on which life depends. Hiranyaksha's brother, Hiranyakashipu, sought revenge. Consumed by hatred and convinced of his own invincibility, he imposed a rule of terror, demanding worship of himself and denying the gods entirely. Yet his own son, Prahlada, remained devoted to Vishnu. Enraged by defiance, the king attempted to kill the boy many times, but the child survived through unwavering faith. Hiranyakashipu believed no creature could defeat him, neither man nor beast, neither indoors nor outdoors, neither during day nor night. But Vishnu appeared as Narasimha, a fierce being, half man, half lion. At twilight, on the palace threshold, Narasimha ripped through tyranny and restored justice. This incarnation showed that arrogance collapses before truth, and no protections are strong enough to shield evil from repayment. As ages passed, new dangers emerged, not from demons but from ambition and expansion. The power of kings grew large and imbalance crept into the world again. Vishnu returned as Vamana, a humble dwarf ascetic, to confront the mighty king Bali. Though Bali was generous, his influence grew beyond natural order. When Vamana requested only 3 steps of land, Bali agreed proudly. The dwarf expanded into a colossal form, covering the heavens in 1 step and the earth in another. With no space left for the third, Bali bowed and offered his own head. Vamana placed his foot upon him, granting Bali honor but ensuring balance remained. This incarnation showed that ego can be challenged not with warfare, but through wisdom and humility. Violence, however, returned in another form, kings abusing divine weapons and hereditary power. Vishnu appeared again, this time as Parshurama, the warrior sage. With an axe granted by Shiva, he punished rulers who had forgotten their duty to protect their people. Kingdoms that had turned oppressive and cruel were reminded that authority is a responsibility, not a privilege. Parshurama roamed the land ensuring that leadership returned to those worthy of it. His era emphasized that justice sometimes requires force, but force must always serve righteousness. As civilizations flourished, society demanded rulers who govern not just with strength, but with morality and compassion. Vishnu then incarnated as Rama, the ideal king. Born into royalty, he faced exile, war, and hardship with dignity and virtue. When the demon king Ravana abducted Sita, Rama crossed oceans and faced armies not for pride, but for love and justice. His reign, remembered as Ram Rajya, became the model for righteous governance, where truth prevails and a leader places duty above all personal gain. Through Rama, humanity learned that virtue, once tested, becomes unbreakable. Yet the world continues evolving and the lessons must evolve with it. In another age, Vishnu returned as Krishna, the guide, strategist, and divine friend. Born during a time of political intrigue, family conflict, and moral confusion, Krishna revealed the meaning of Dharma through action. On the battlefield of Kurukshetra, he delivered the Bhagavad Gita, explaining how righteousness must be followed even when the path ahead is painful. Krishna showed that devotion is not blind belief, but a choice built on wisdom and courage. Through playfulness and profound teachings alike, he reshaped humanity's understanding of spiritual duty. In the next age, strength and wisdom were embodied in Balarama, Krishna's elder brother. Known for his physical power and mastery of agriculture, he represented the essential role of labor and sustenance in prosperity. While others waged wars or pursued spiritual paths, Balarama grounded humanity in survival, ensuring that kingdoms flourished not only through conquest or faith, but through food, farming, and discipline. His presence reminded the world that nourishment is a foundation of civilization, and strength must protect, not oppress. But the story of the avatars is not yet complete. The final age is still unfolding, the Kali Yuga, a time when greed, conflict, deceit, and moral chaos rise. It is believed that when darkness becomes overwhelming and humanity forgets its connection to righteousness entirely, Vishnu will return as Kalki, the warrior riding a white horse, armed with a radiant sword. His arrival will not be gentle but transformative, ending an age of corruption and resetting the cycle so truth may rise again. Kalki represents hope, that even in the darkest times renewal waits beyond the storm. Across ages and civilizations, the Dashavatara forms a timeline of human development, from life in the ocean to farming, kingship, and spiritual wisdom. Each incarnation protected not only the world's existence, but the lessons shaping civilization. Together they remind us that balance must forever be defended, and whenever injustice tries to rule, a protector will rise again. From the moment Rama was born, destiny surrounded him like a quiet shadow. In the bustling kingdom of Ayodhya, celebrations filled the air as the first son of King Dashavatara and Queen Kaushalya entered the world. People believed he was a blessing from the divine, a prince who carried both grace and strength in balance. His childhood was filled with discipline, archery training, and teachings that shaped his character into one admired throughout the land. Rama understood honor long before he understood power, and that alone made his presence reassuring to everyone around him. When he walked through the streets, the citizens felt that their future was secure, as if Dharma itself, right conduct and truth, had taken a human form. Years passed, and Rama became the ideal prince, a symbol of restraint, responsibility, and kindness. His brothers, Lakshmana, Bharata, and Shatrughna, loved him deeply, forming a bond that stood strong despite every test life placed before them. Among these bonds, Lakshmana's devotion stood out like unbreakable steel. Wherever Rama went, Lakshmana stood beside him, eyes steady, sword ready, heart loyal. Together they faced challenges of nature and mankind, strengthening not only their abilities but also the values that define them. When Rama came of age, destiny pulled him toward a challenge that would change more than his own life. It would shape history. A great Swayamvara was held for Princess Sita of Mithila, a woman admired as much for her intelligence and courage as for her beauty. Many princes desired her hand, but the challenge set forth by King Janaka humbled even the strongest among them. A divine bow, gifted by the gods, lay before the suitors. It was said that only the one chosen by destiny would be able to lift it. One after another, warriors tried and failed, their confidence shattered under the bow's impossible weight. Rama stepped forward not with arrogance but with serenity. Grasping the bow, he lifted it effortlessly, and to the shock of all present, the bow cracked in two with thunderous force. Sita looked upon Rama not merely as the winner of a contest but as the man chosen by fate to walk beside her. Their marriage united two kingdoms and hearts grounded in Dharma. The celebrations echoed across cities, and King Dasharatha began preparing to crown Rama as his rightful heir. However, destiny does not grant happiness without trials. In the quiet corners of the palace, jealousy flickered like a hidden flame. Kaikeyi, Rama's stepmother and once the most affectionate toward him, fell victim to manipulation and fear. Her maid, Manthara, poisoned her thoughts with the idea that Sita's rise would overshadow Kaikeyi's son, Bharata. The flames of insecurity intensified until Kaikeyi approached the king, reminding him of two promises he had made long ago, promises he now wished he could take back. She demanded that Rama be exiled to the forest for 14 years and that Bharata be crowned king instead. Dasharatha's heart shattered beneath the weight of those cruel demands. For a king, a promise is unbreakable, and for a father, the order was unbearable. Rama, however, accepted this unexpected fate calmly. Without anger or complaint, He reassured his father and the court that Dharma must always prevail, even when it wounds. His words carried a quiet strength that made silence fall upon everyone witnessing the scene. A crown did not define Rama, his character did. Sita refused to remain in Ayodhya without him. Despite the dangers of the wilderness, she vowed that her place was beside her husband, in comfort or hardship. Lakshmana joined them as well, determined to protect Rama until his last breath. Together, the three left the palace under a sky heavy with sorrow. The citizens of Ayodhya followed them, begging their prince to stay. But Rama walked forward, guided by purpose greater than any throne. When they reached the forest's edge, Rama comforted his grieving supporters. He asked them to care for his family and uphold righteousness while he was gone. With heavy hearts, the people returned to the city as the trio stepped into a new chapter, one where the luxuries of royalty disappeared and life returned to nature's simplest demands. Deep within the forests, Rama, Sita, and Lakshmana built a modest hermitage. The trees offered shelter, rivers provided nourishment, and wildlife became silent companions. They lived peaceful days, meeting sages who found hope in Rama's presence. The forest, though wild and unpredictable, seemed to respect them. At night, the stars above witnessed their resilience while a gentle wind whispered stories of fate yet to unfold. But the forest also held dangers unseen. In distant lands, a powerful demon king named Ravana ruled with iron strength and cunning mind. His influence stretched across seas and kingdoms, where many submitted out of fear rather than loyalty. Ravana's ambitions reached skyward, desiring not only power but complete submission from gods and mortals alike. His actions disturbed the balance of the world, provoking consequences that would eventually lead him to cross paths with Rama. That collision would begin with a single act of trickery. A demoness named Shurpanakha wandered into the forest where Rama and his family lived, driven by a mix of desire and malicious intent. After being rejected and humiliated by Lakshmana, she fled back to her brother Ravana, her pride wounded and rage ignited. She poisoned his thoughts with stories of Sita's beauty, fueling his obsession. Ravana decided that he must possess Sita, not for love, but to prove that nothing existed that he could not take by force. Ravana's plan was set. Disguised deceit, magical illusions, and a diversion would lead to Sita's capture. And when that moment arrived, the balance of the world shifted. The quiet days in exile were over. Destiny had finally revealed the true purpose of Rama's journey into the wilderness. As Rama and Sita settled into their life in the forests of Panchavati, the brothers grew accustomed to a simple routine, gathering food, preparing shelter, and spending evenings near the flickering fire, sharing hopes of their eventual return to Ayodhya. But the forest was not a place of peace. Ten-headed Ravana, the king of Lanka, had already heard of Rama's growing influence and Sita's unparalleled virtue. His envy and desire were fueled by his sister, the demoness Shurpanakha, who had been humiliated and disfigured when she attempted to harm Sita. Ravana saw this not only as personal revenge but as an opportunity to claim a woman whose purity and grace were celebrated even among the gods. He decided he would tear apart Rama's life by taking away what he loved most. Ravana sought the help of Maricha, a demon capable of incredible illusions. Maricha transformed into a dazzling golden deer, glittering as though sculpted from sunlight. When Sita saw the enchanting creature near their hermitage, she asked Rama to capture it. Rama, unsuspecting of danger, pursued the deer deep into the forest. Before leaving, he entrusted Lakshmana with Sita's safety. Soon, a desperate cry echoed through the woods, Rama's voice calling for help. Although Lakshmana knew it was a trick, Sita insisted he run to save her husband. Reluctantly, Lakshmana obeyed, drawing a line of protection, the Lakshmana Rekha, around the hut, warning Sita never to cross it. As soon as she was alone, Ravana arrived disguised as a humble monk seeking alms. Sita, bound by her duty to serve, stepped beyond the protective line to assist him. The illusion instantly dropped, and Ravana seized her, lifting her into his sky chariot. Sita cried out for Rama and Lakshmana, dropping her jewelry as a trail of clues. She pleaded for mercy, but Ravana remained determined. His chariot soared south toward Lanka, an island fortress ruled by fear and defended by a legion of powerful demons. During the desperate journey, Sita's cries drew the attention of Jatayu, an aged and noble vulture who had once sworn to protect King Dashavatara's family. Despite his weakening strength, Jatayu confronted Ravana with courage. He attacked fiercely, determined to stop the king of Lanka. The battle was brief but heroic. Jatayu managed to break the chariot's yoke and slow Ravana's escape. Enraged, Ravana severed the vulture's wings and fled, leaving him dying on the forest floor. When Rama and Lakshmana returned and realized Sita was missing, their panic was immediate. Their search led them to Jatayu, who used his final breaths to reveal who had taken Sita and in which direction he had flown. Rama vowed that Ravana would pay with everything he had built, and the brothers began the long march south, grieving yet driven by unwavering purpose. This moment marked a turning point. Rama was no longer a prince in exile. He had become a warrior on a mission to restore justice, forming new alliances that would reshape the world before the war was done. After learning of Sita's abduction, Rama and Lakshmana pressed forward through the forests, determined not to waste a moment. Their search led them deeper into territories where humans did not dwell. Soon they encountered Sugriva, the exiled ruler of the Vanara kingdom of Kishkinda. Sugriva, betrayed by his brother Vali, lived in fear and powerlessness. Rama, understanding the value of alliances, offered his help. In a fierce battle, Rama defeated Vali, restoring Sugriva's rightful throne. The grateful Vanara king pledged his army to assist in the search for Sita, marking the beginning of a powerful alliance that would reshape the balance of the conflict. Among Sugriva's companions was Hanuman, fearless, strong, and utterly devoted. His loyalty to Rama was immediate and absolute. Recognizing his intelligence and courage, Rama entrusted Hanuman with a vital task: to locate Sita and carry a message of hope to her. Guided by rumors and scattered signs, the search party moved southward, covering vast distances and traversing dangerous terrain. But the ocean that stretched endlessly before them became the biggest obstacle. Lanka lay across the waters, visible from the shore but unreachable by conventional means. The Vanaras hesitated, unsure how to cross such an expanse. It was then that Jambavan, the wise elder of the group, reminded Hanuman of his true strength, power given but forgotten. Hanuman, once unaware of his own divine abilities, felt confidence surge within him as the realization returned. With renewed purpose, he grew in stature, towering above the cliffs and the waves that crashed below. His leap toward Lanka would not be an act of ego but one of pure service, the duty he had embraced the moment he pledged himself to Rama. Hanuman launched himself into the air with incredible force, the ground trembling beneath him. The wind roared past as he soared through the sky, his vast shadow racing across the ocean. He faced distractions, mountain spirits testing his strength and demons attempting to sabotage his flight, but nothing deterred him. His mission was too important and the stakes too high. Upon reaching Lanka, Hanuman shrank to a subtle, unseen form and began searching the heavily guarded city. Lanka was a place of wealth and darkness, towering palaces built on the suffering of those under Ravana's rule. After hours of stealth and careful observation, Hanuman finally found Sita in a distant Ashoka garden. Her clothing was worn, and her face showed exhaustion and resistance. She remained defiant, refusing Ravana's threats and temptations, holding on to the belief that Rama would come. When Hanuman approached her gently with Rama's message, she was overcome with relief. He assured her that the battle for her freedom had already begun. Before departing, Hanuman allowed himself to be captured to deliver a warning to Ravana directly. Even when surrounded by Ravana's soldiers, Hanuman's confidence did not waver. His burning tail set Lanka ablaze, a brutal symbol of what would come if Ravana refused to release Sita. With the mission complete, Hanuman returned to Rama and reported everything he had discovered. Hope was no longer distant. The path to war was now clear, and Rama knew the time had come to march on Lanka. As dawn approached, the Vanara army surrounded Lanka from all sides, transforming the once quiet coastline into a battlefield waiting to ignite. The city's golden fortifications glimmered ominously under the rising sun, reflecting both the wealth of Lanka and the pride of its ruler. Ravana, alerted by his spies, stood atop his palace balcony, gripping his 10-headed crown with fury. He could not believe that a human prince and a band of forest dwellers dared to challenge him, the king whom even gods feared. But arrogance had long clouded Ravana's judgment, and the time for his empire to be tested had finally arrived. The siege began with roaring war cries. The Vanaras stormed the outer gates, hoisting heavy boulders, uprooting trees, and using their sheer physical strength as weapons. Archers from Lanka retaliated with volleys of flaming arrows, striking down many warriors. But fear could not stop the momentum that Rama's presence provided. He moved among his troops, his calm determination giving them unwavering confidence. Lakshmana fought fiercely by his side, deflecting attacks with grace and skill, proving why he was counted among the most loyal brothers in mythology. Amid the chaos, the battle turned into an exchange of extraordinary champions. Ravana's son Indrajit entered the fray first, an unmatched warrior capable of disappearing at will. His invisible arrows wounded even the greatest fighters. Lakshmana fell severely injured under his attack, and doubt briefly threatened the hearts of Rama's allies. But Hanuman, defying distance and time, soared to the Himalayas to bring the life-restoring Sanjeevani herb. Lakshmana rose again, reminding Ravana's forces that no trick could break the resolve behind Rama's cause. The clash intensified as Kumbhakarna, Ravana's giant brother, entered the battlefield like a living mountain. His footsteps alone sent tremors through the ground. Vanaras were thrown aside like mere leaves in a storm. Rama faced him head-on, unleashing divine arrows that pierced through his colossal form. Kumbhakarna fell, realizing in his final breath that his loyalty had been chained to a ruler who had forsaken righteousness. The defeat of his greatest warriors left Ravana no choice. Enraged, he mounted his chariot and finally confronted Rama. The sky itself dimmed as the two forces met, dharma against ego, compassion against cruelty. Their weapons collided like thunderbolts. Each blow echoed fate's impatient drumbeat. Ravana unleashed his most fearsome powers, his 10 heads chanting mantras of destruction. Yet Rama remained composed, guided by the principles that defined his very existence. For a moment the battle paused, both warriors catching their breath in the eerie silence of destiny. Vibhishana, Ravana's brother who had defected to Rama after pleading for peace, revealed the secret of Ravana's vulnerability. His life force was hidden deep within his navel area. Rama then invoked the Brahmastra, a celestial weapon meant only for the gravest necessity. He aimed with respectful solemnity, for even in this moment, Ravana's greatness as a scholar and devotee was not forgotten. The arrow struck with divine precision. Ravana's roar shook Lanka one last time, then faded. His massive body fell, marking not only his defeat but the fall of unchecked pride. The battlefield quieted, and the winds changed direction as if nature itself exhaled in relief. With Ravana slain, Rama stepped forward, not victorious in arrogance but humbled by the weight of the war he never wanted. Ahead lay the joyful yet emotional task of reuniting with Sita and restoring balance to the world. The war was won, but the story of justice, sacrifice and love was still unfinished. Before he became a divine teacher on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, before he was worshipped as the protector of Dharma, Krishna was a child born into danger. His birth took place in the darkness of a prison cell, in the city of Mathura. His parents, Vasudeva and Devki, were shackled by fear, for Devki's brother, King Kamsa, had received a terrifying prophecy. It warned that Devki's 8th child would end his life. Filled with paranoia, Kamsa murdered their first 7 children one by one. Yet destiny cannot be stopped. When Krishna was born, the prison doors magically opened, chains fell away and guards fell asleep. Vasudeva carried the newborn across the flooding Yamuna river, guided by divine power, to the peaceful village of Gokul, where Krishna would grow under the loving care of Yashoda and Nanda. In Gokul, Krishna's life bloomed like a story that danced between mischief and miracles. He played the flute, charming not only humans but animals and even nature itself. The gopis, cowherd maidens, felt their hearts move when they heard his melodies. But danger followed him always. Kamsa repeatedly sent demons to kill the prophesied child. Krishna defeated them without fear, lifting mountains to protect his people, subduing serpents in the river, turning threats into legends of courage. With each victory he proved that divinity didn't demand distance, it thrived among the people. When Krishna grew older he returned to Mathura to fulfill the prophecy. He faced Kamsa in battle and ended his tyrannical rule. The prophecy was complete. But Krishna's role in the world had only just begun. The politics of peace in the shadow of war. After restoring justice in Mathura, Krishna moved his people to the safer city of Dwarka, a shining coastal kingdom. There, his leadership shifted from heroic rescues to strategic guidance. He wasn't simply a warrior, he was a diplomat, a thinker, a protector of balance. Kingdoms across India sought his counsel, and his name became synonymous with wisdom and righteousness. During this time, the rivalry between the Pandavas and Kauravas reached its breaking point. Krishna, related to both sides, tried his best to prevent war. He sought peace, sending messages of compromise and fairness to the Kaurava prince Duryodhana. But arrogance blinded the Kauravas just as it once blinded Ravana. Duryodhana rejected all proposals, even when Krishna asked only for 5 small villages for the Pandavas to live in. War became inevitable. The stage of Kurukshetra, a battleground that would determine the fate of Dharma, was set. Krishna vowed not to wield weapons in the war. Instead, he became a charioteer, a seemingly humble role, for Arjuna the Pandava warrior torn by heartbreak. For Arjuna was not just a fighter. He was a man who saw family on both sides of the field. The weight of killing those he once respected shattered his resolve. In that moment of collapse, Krishna spoke words that would echo through time. The Bhagavad Gita, light in the darkness of doubt. On the battlefield, with conch shells roaring and armies awaiting command, Krishna delivered a message of truth that transcended the war itself. He reminded Arjuna that life is not defined by fear but by duty. The soul is eternal, bodies may perish but the essence lives on. To surrender to despair is to surrender to ignorance. To act with righteousness is to honor existence itself. He explained the balance between action and detachment, performing duty without obsession over outcomes. He revealed his divine form, a cosmic vision where galaxies swirled within him, creation and destruction united. Arjuna understood then, Krishna was more than friend or guide. He was the supreme itself, here to restore harmony. With newfound clarity, Arjuna stood ready to fight not for victory, but for justice. The war raged fiercely. Heroes fell, sacrifices were made, and Dharma slowly reclaimed its rightful place. When the dust settled and silence returned to Kurukshetra, the lesson Krishna taught remained, a blueprint for moral courage that has guided humanity for thousands of years. A life beyond war, love, devotion and legacy. Even though Krishna participated in the greatest war of Indian history, his spiritual influence extended far beyond violence. In Vrindavan, the gopis continued to remember his music, a divine bond deeper than worldly love. Radha, his eternal companion, became the symbol of devotion that transcends time. Their connection taught the world that love in its purest form leads the soul closer to the divine. But earthly time spares no one, not even avatars. When Adharma rose again, Krishna reminded the world that his mission had always been temporary. As the era drew to a close, he left his earthly body, marking the beginning of the Kali Yuga, the present age of challenges and spiritual testing. Yet Krishna never truly departed. His words live on in the Bhagavad Gita. His stories breathe through generations. His flute still echoes in hearts that seek guidance, teaching that life is not merely survival but a journey of purpose. He was the warrior who avoided violence, the king who embraced humility, the God who lived among humans to show them the strength of virtue. Krishna's epic is not just a tale. It is a reminder that whenever darkness threatens the world, wisdom will return, wearing a human form, leading humanity back toward the light. When Krishna left the world, a great shift unfolded across the fabric of time. The age of righteousness and divine presence, known as Dwapara Yuga, faded into memory. In its place began a new era, Kali Yuga, the age we live in today. It is the final chapter in the cosmic cycle of yugas, an age marked by struggle, confusion, and distance from the divine. Unlike the ages before it, Kali Yuga is not defined by heroes or miracles. It is defined by the everyday battles inside the human heart. In this age, Dharma, the universal principle of truth, stands weak, supported by only one remaining pillar. Greed rises above generosity, and personal desire often overshadows duty. Wisdom turns into doubt. Faith becomes fragile. Even the simplest of virtues require immense effort to maintain. And as this spiritual decline unfolds, humanity slowly forgets its connection to the eternal. The stories of the divine become legends, the scriptures become symbols, and righteousness becomes a struggle rather than a way of life. Kali Yuga is not only about chaos, it is a test. It challenges humans to choose the light even when darkness feels easier. It reveals that strength of the soul matters more when guidance is not visible. In silence, destiny prepares for the arrival of a new dawn. This age will last for thousands of years. But like every cycle that came before, Kali Yuga too has an end. And at that destined moment, an avatar will rise again. The prophecy of Kalki, the final avatar. As the darkness of Kali Yuga deepens, ancient texts speak of a warrior, the 10th and final avatar of Vishnu, who will emerge to restore balance. His name is Kalki. Kalki will not appear with gentle teachings nor peaceful persuasion. Unlike Rama's embodiment of virtue or Krishna's guidance through wisdom, Kalki's arrival signifies the conclusion, a decisive closure to corruption and tyranny across the world. He will descend at the exact moment when falsehood appears undefeatable, when leaders abandon truth entirely, and when humanity forgets the meaning of compassion. It is said that Kalki will ride a white divine horse, its galloping echo sounding like thunder across the sky. In his hands he will wield a flaming sword, not a weapon of cruelty but of purifying justice. His presence will shatter fear. His mission will not be war for conquest but war for renewal, a final act to clear the world of its unbearable weight of adharma. This battle will not resemble ancient wars. It will be a transformation, a purging of the earth from the poisons it collected through centuries of ego, cruelty, division, and deception. Those who have held on to virtue, even in hardship, will rise into the new age that follows. Those consumed by greed and injustice will fade with the darkness they chose. Kalki's arrival marks not the end of creation, but the beginning of its rebirth. The new cycle, return of light. Once the cleansing is done, the universe will breathe again. Dharma will stand strong once more. A new age, Satya Yuga, the age of truth, will begin. It is the first and purest of the four ages, where humanity lives in harmony, and knowledge flows without confusion. Compassion becomes instinct, justice becomes effortless, and devotion connects every soul to the divine. The wheel of time will turn once again and life will start fresh, not as repetition, but as renewal shaped by the lessons of the past. Even though Kalki's coming lies in a distant future, the essence of his mission is already present. Krishna's teachings echo across the centuries, reminding humanity that the divine never abandons the world. Every act of kindness, every moment of courage, every choice toward truth, they become sparks of light pushing against the weight of Kali Yuga. The world may seem dark, but darkness exists only where light has not yet arrived. In this age, faith becomes a quiet revolution. A simple smile becomes charity. A promise kept becomes honor. A prayer whispered becomes a bridge back to the divine. Humanity is not asked to be perfect, only to keep trying even when the night feels long. The eternal hope. The story of Hindu mythology does not end with destruction, it ends with hope. It teaches that no matter how far humanity drifts, destiny always makes space for redemption. Every era, every struggle, every cycle has purpose. The universe guides us forward, learning and evolving alongside us. Krishna's legacy ensures that wisdom is never lost. Kalki's promise ensures that justice is never forgotten. And the cosmic cycle ensures that life always rises again. So as we navigate the challenges of Kali Yuga, we walk with the reassurance that darkness is only temporary. After the longest night, the brightest sunrise will come, carried by the hooves of a white horse and the courage of the final avatar. The end is also the beginning. Time will turn again. Light will return. Dharma will rise. And the world will breathe anew. Hindu mythology is not a collection of ancient stories locked away in forgotten scrolls. It is a living, breathing system of philosophy, shaping billions of lives across thousands of years. Unlike mythologies that faded with fallen empires, Hindu mythology continues evolving, adapting, and inspiring new generations. It is a bridge across time, linking sages of the past with seekers of today. To understand its enduring power, we must look beyond the divine battles and cosmic dramas. We must understand why these stories survived and continue to shape culture, identity, spirituality, and imagination across the world. Hindu mythology does not treat gods as distant beings living far away. They walk the earth, take birth, make mistakes, protect loved ones, lose battles, and rise again. Rama's struggle, Krishna's guidance, Shiva's destruction, Durga's courage, their stories reflect human emotions and moral dilemmas. It is storytelling that teaches without preaching, inspiring without forcing belief. Every character becomes a mirror, revealing the path of Dharma, how to act with righteousness even when the world is unfair. The earliest storytellers were sages who understood that ideas spread faster and last longer when wrapped in narrative. Through the Vedas, Puranas, and epics like the Ramayana and Mahabharata, they preserved history, astronomy, ethics, and metaphysical insights in captivating tales. People did not need to read scriptures, they lived through them. Villagers learned morals through temple carvings. Travelers heard tales from wandering bards. Children grew up with bedtime stories of valor and devotion. And as the stories traveled, they evolved, absorbing local cultures and being retold in new ways. This adaptability became a superpower that ensured their survival across millennia. Hindu mythology also stands apart in how it represents time, not as a straight line beginning with creation and ending with judgment, but as an eternal cycle. Universes rise, fall, and rise again. Gods take different avatars in different eras because life itself is seen as continuous renewal. This worldview gives believers a sense of resilience. Even in dark times like the Kali Yuga, the cycle promises rebirth. The world is never doomed, it is simply changing form. This cosmic optimism helps countless people remain hopeful even in suffering. One of the reasons these stories became eternal is their deep philosophical foundation. Every myth hides layers of meaning. For example, the Kurukshetra war is not just a battlefield, it is the inner war within every human heart. Ravana is not only a villain, he symbolizes ego overpowering wisdom. Vishnu's avatars represent balance returning when chaos goes too far. And Kali Yuga is not just a prophecy, it is a reflection of present-day society, warning humans to restore morality before collapse. The stories work like puzzles the audience must decode. Generation after generation continues to find new meanings in tales thousands of years old. Art became another powerful vehicle of survival. Hindu mythology can be seen in India's oldest cave murals, in the towering temples of Tamil Nadu, in the colorful festivals of the north, and in delicate sculptures across Southeast Asia. Even ancient Cambodia, Thailand, Indonesia, Nepal, and Bali display stories of Rama and Krishna in their most sacred monuments. Great warriors, kings, and travelers carried these legends across oceans and mountains, making them a shared cultural treasure. They inspired dance forms like Kathakali and Bharatanatyam, classical music improvisations, and traditional theater performances. Visual storytelling allowed mythology to adapt into local styles while preserving its core essence. Language diversity also expanded its reach. The Ramayana alone exists in hundreds of versions. Valmiki's Sanskrit epic, Tulsidas' Hindi Rankaritmanas, Kritiba's Bengali rendition, Kampan's Tamil rewriting, and even versions in Tibetan, Javanese, Thai, and Lao cultures. Each version highlights values important to its own people. This ability to transform without losing identity makes the mythology feel personal everywhere it goes. Hindu mythology did not remain trapped in temples or religious rituals. It evolved into modern popular culture. Comic books reintroduced children to Hanuman and Ganesha in exciting new formats. Bollywood and animated films revived the adventures of gods with stunning visuals. Video games and web series brought battles of the Mahabharata and Ramayana to younger audiences worldwide. The stories migrated from palm leaf manuscripts to streaming platforms, staying alive in every new medium humanity creates. Even Western literature and philosophy drew inspiration from these myths. Scholars and artists admired the complexity of these narratives. Writers like W.B. Yeats, Aldous Huxley, and J. Robert Oppenheimer referenced Hindu concepts like karma, maya, and dharma. The Bhagavad Gita influenced global thinking on ethics, leadership, and inner peace. Yoga and meditation, deeply rooted in Hindu philosophy, became worldwide movements helping millions find spiritual balance. The mythology didn't just survive, it expanded into a universal language of wisdom. The stories also carry a powerful message about diversity. Hindu mythology embraces countless forms of divinity. The same god can appear as a child, a warrior, a teacher, or a cosmic force. There is no single path to salvation. Devotion, knowledge, action, and meditation all lead to the divine. This flexibility encourages tolerance. A person can question the gods, argue with them, or love them with complete devotion. Faith becomes a dialogue, not a command. And that freedom keeps the mythology relevant in a changing world. At the heart of it all stands the belief in dharma, righteous duty. Every character, whether god or human, faces the consequences of their choices. Heroes like Rama show the strength of sacrifice, while flawed characters like Karna reveal the tragedy of choosing loyalty over justice. Instead of simply rewarding the good and punishing the evil, the stories explore moral complexity. That realism allows audiences to connect emotionally, learning not what to think but how to think. In times of confusion, these myths offer guidance. In times of despair, they offer hope. They remind everyone that even the smallest act of virtue matters in maintaining cosmic order. The legacy of Hindu mythology is not only in its grand temples or scriptures but in ordinary life. Millions begin their day with prayers to Ganesha, seeking a clear path ahead. Families tell stories of goddess Lakshmi during festivals, celebrating prosperity with gratitude. Farmers still invoke Indra for rains. Warriors look to Durga for courage. Students chant mantras before exams. Even those who do not believe in gods understand the symbolic value of the stories. The mythology shapes festivals, family values, social bonds, and personal identity. Children hear the story of Prahlada and learn about faith. Young adults hear the dilemmas in the Mahabharata and confront real-world choices. Elders reflect on Shiva's cosmic dance, accepting the transient nature of life. The stories evolve with age, guiding each person differently at different stages. They are companions throughout life's journey. Another reason these myths never fade is because they allow interpretation. Some view Krishna literally as God. Others see his flute as a metaphor for the call of the soul. Some see Shiva as a cosmic destroyer, Others see him as the energy of transformation within every being. This openness keeps the mythology intellectually exciting. Scholars debate meanings. Philosophers reinterpret concepts. Devotees express their love through poetry and ritual. The mythology remains a playground for creativity and discovery. Hindu mythology also celebrates the feminine divine. Goddesses like Durga, Kali, Sarasvati, Parvati, and Lakshmi show that power can be nurturing or fearsome. Women are not merely supporters of male gods. They are embodiments of Shakti, the cosmic energy that sustains all existence. This balance of masculine and feminine forces gives the mythology a unique sense of harmony. It inspires movements for equality and empowers women to see divinity in themselves. In the modern world, Hindu mythology continues to evolve as new storytellers reinterpret old tales. Some focus on the psychology behind characters. Others explore historical roots or scientific symbolism. For example, Brahma representing creation might symbolize the Big Bang. Vishnu preserving the universe parallels cosmic balance in physics. Shiva destroying matter reflects entropy and transformation. These reinterpretations show that mythology can coexist with knowledge rather than conflict with it. Even the avatar concept resonates today. Whenever the world faces imbalance, whether environmental crisis, inequality, or moral decay, people look for avatars in leaders who bring compassion and justice. The myth reminds society that one person driven by truth can change the course of history. The mythology also guards memory, preserving ancient cultures that might otherwise disappear. Through the story of the Ganga, we remember the importance of rivers. Through legends of sacred forests, we learn environmental respect. Through tales of karma, we understand that every action has consequences. The myths serve as a moral compass for humanity, urging balance between spiritual and material worlds. As technology advances, some worry that humanity will lose touch with spirituality. But Hindu mythology adapts once again. Devotees join online temples, watch digital yajnas, and learn meditation through apps. The medium changes, but the message does not. Because the stories speak to something eternal, the search for meaning. The legacy of Hindu mythology is not a closed book. It continues being written every day. Every time someone performs an act of kindness, every time someone chooses truth despite difficulty, every time someone stands against injustice, they keep Dharma alive. The gods may no longer walk the earth in visible avatars, but their stories live in human actions. As long as parents tell these stories to their children, as long as artists paint the battles of Rama and Ravana, as long as philosophers debate the lessons of the Gita, as long as believers chant mantras with devotion, the mythology will never fade. It will continue lighting the path forward, reminding humanity that darkness never wins forever. Chaos rises, but order returns. Suffering spreads, but hope emerges. Civilizations fall, but truth survives. That is the eternal promise hidden within Hindu mythology. Stories become immortal when they speak to the human soul. And these stories, of gods who love, humans who struggle, and a universe that renews itself, will continue to echo across time. They are not just tales of the past. They are guides for the future. A legacy that will remain alive as long as life continues, an eternal story that never ends.